I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. This is a little hand vise. Some people call it a filing vise, some people call it a gunsmith's vise. It's just a little hand vise. And it's been sitting around a long time and gotten really rusty. So now that I have the auger bit out of the vinegar, I'm going to put this in the vinegar. And I'm not going to put the bolt in. Vinegar has a tendency to take threads off. Little word to the wise. If you got a bolt like this, or a nut, don't put it in the vinegar. But this body, it's all frozen up. It's got a hinge down here at the bottom. And that's what's stuck. So I've just got this little plastic tray, and I'm going to take, now I'll set this over where I keep the vinegar while it's working, and we'll let it go for a day or two. Well, we got the little vise out of the vinegar bath. The rust on the outside is pretty much gone, but I still got a little hitch in that joint. So I'm going to put a little oil on it. What you're seeing boiling out of there is the water. I just took this up in the sink and washed off the vinegar. That's got it. The oil had a chance to work in overnight. The vinegar did a pretty good job of taking the rust off the casting. And this is a casting. It's not machined. You can see the mold marks on it. But I think it's cast steel. I don't think it's cast iron. The serrations on there, if that was cast iron, they would just snap right off. I think this is cast steel. I could have put this back in the vinegar, had it done in a day or two, but I wanted to get it done right now. So using mechanical means takes the rust off while I'm standing there. And when I'm all done, it's just as clean as vinegar, as long as it doesn't have any convoluted parts to it. Getting in there with a wire brush, yeah, that does a better job. Going by the stamping, I think this used to belong to somebody whose initials were DW. Don't forget to wear your stuff. Remember, we didn't want to put the bolt and the nut in the vinegar. So the bolt and nut were run across the power wire brush. While I had it running, I used it to clean out the serrations and the jaws. Now, that carriage bolt doesn't look like a very good fit for that square hole. I think this at one time might have had a 3/8 bolt. But this 5/16 doesn't turn in there. And it has this nut that looks like it's the right thing. The only thing is it doesn't open very much. So I'm wondering if it shouldn't have a longer bolt in there. I think that's a little better. Now, this carriage bolt isn't exactly period, but I think for what I'm going to be using it for, this is going to work a little better. Originally, I think this had a hairpin spring in it. That would have fitted down in this little gap here and would have forced the jaws open. But I'm going to try this compression spring just to see how it works. That goes into coil bind before the jaws close. That won't work. Needs to be a little stronger too. Might end up making a hairpin spring for it. This will work quite well to give me a grip on smaller things. Nice solid little hand vise. It's along the same lines as this one, a little bigger. This one has a spring that's fastened into the frame. Looks like it's bolted in. It's got a little square-headed bolt right there. Could be a rivet. Never felt the need to take it apart to find out. But that spring makes it nice because it opens up. You can put whatever you're trying to grip in there and not have to hold it in place. The jaws will just open up and grip whatever you want to put in it. Then when you release it, they open back up again. This one, at least until that bearing loosens up a bit, it's going to be, you're going to have to pry it open to get it to come out any larger. Which works, but it's not exactly the best method. Nice thing is, this was $2. This was $3. These came as part of a, well, actually this one came as one toolbox component, and this was part of another toolbox. Both of them are very handy. This one doesn't have a spring at all, and this one has a coil spring, but that's how it was designed, to have a coil spring. And that coil spring fits in there quite nicely and operates very well. No coil bind. And the jaw is open, just like that. I find these very handy for wire brushing small parts. Don't like getting my fingers too close to that wire brush. Now I got a couple of little gunsmith's vise, hand vise, machinist vise. These can be replaced with a pair of vice grips, but these are just cooler. If you have any suggestions for a new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I rate them all. Thanks for watching.